Hello. I thought I'd be leaving the nurse Peggie case alone for a little while, as I've spoken about this £250,000 case and rising. I spoke about that only a few days ago. But there's an article here in the Telegraph which shows how vindictive a health authority can be about somebody who doesn't toe their line, because they're trying to stop her from getting her job back, even though she's been completely exonerated. And they've done it in the following way. Turns out she's a racist. Apparently, she's not only a woman who wants a bit of privacy in her changing room, she's a racist and a homophobe. I've never met the lady, but I would venture to guess that if she's a racist, I'm a 20-year-old 6-foot blonde, Keir Starmer is the greatest Prime Minister Britain has ever had, and NHS Fife is a properly functioning health authority. What I am, in actual fact, is granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share it, please subscribe, and if you want to contribute financially to my channel, I'd appreciate that. You'll find the various methods listed in the description. And my horses will be all the happier for the shoeing and the Mint Imperials. Now, for those of you not blessed with a knowledge of what Mint Imperials look like, here's a picture. OK, back to Nurse Peggie. Nurse Peggie is a Band 5 nurse who was employed at the Victoria Hospital in Kirkcaldy in Fife. She had 30 years of experience, particularly in the accident and emergency department. Band 5 nurses are academically qualified registered nurses, and midwives are also in Band 5. There are a couple of medical practitioners that fall into the same category, but I'll stick to the nursing right now. Now, as you know, midwives are highly qualified medical staff, so you've got an idea of where Band 5 is. Band 5 nurses are the coal-face workers of the hospital system. They're the ones who do the general direct patient care. The nursing bands actually go up to Band 9, but when you get past Band 5, when you're on Band 6, you're more into the specialist stuff, diabetes, for instance, or Parkinson's. And the bands above that, well, they're a lot of administration. So I think this tells you something about Nurse Peggie. Perhaps she wasn't ambitious enough. Perhaps she just liked people and wanted to stay working with them in the sort of general practice that is the accident and emergency ward. I can imagine that A&E requires a lot of flexibility and initiative, and I can also imagine this would appeal to a certain sort of person. What it would not appeal to would be someone who is racist or homophobic, would it? Unless they were there specifically to do harm. What do you think? And yet this is precisely what they started trying to accuse her of, or NHS Fife started trying to accuse her of, to bolster their case. The whole pantomime started when she objected to being forced to share her changing room with a eugonadal male. And after 30 years' experience as a nurse, I think we can assume that Nurse Peggie recognises a pair of functioning gonads when she sees them. And Dr. Upton, who likes to be called Beth, is, I have been given to understand, just about as eugonadal as they come. Yes, I am aware of the double entendre. Back to Dr. Beth. Dr. Beth and the hospital and NHS Fife all say he is most definitely a woman. because of his choice of wardrobe, apparently, although in this case I'd say that this wardrobe still had the key sticking out of the lock. Nurse Peggie didn't agree that this particular wardrobe in any way, shape or form could be regarded as an underwear drawer, and she made a fuss, and the hospital slapped her down, closely followed by the entire NHS trust, trying to land punches one after the other. The court found for Nurse Peggie, and we all thought it was over and done with, didn't we? Well, it is in a way, although for some reason the tribunal is continuing even though the case is over. After all, it's only public money, isn't it? But I just thought I'd read you some of the stuff that they were throwing at Nurse Peggie while they were trying to crucify her, and they're using this stuff to stop her from getting her job back. It's a masterclass in corporate bullying. Charlotte Miles, a service manager at NHS Fife, said she'd reviewed a decision to suspend Nurse Peggie over the row with Beth Upton. Ms Miles told a tribunal in Dundee that senior figures at Victoria Hospital in Kirkcaldy expressed unhappiness at her decision, that's Miss Miles' decision, to allow Miss Peggie to return to work. She said they claimed the nurse was homophobic, had been racist towards a doctor, and that she supported Donald Trump's views on gender. By gum, that's a slam dunk, isn't it? She supported Donald Trump's views on gender. And obviously that made her unfit for work as a nurse in their precious hospital. She said Dr. Kate Searle, who was Dr. Upton's line manager, alleged there were patient safety issues with allowing Miss Peggie to resume her nursing job. 30 years, university degree, and an A&E career that has not attracted any previous complaints, and Dr. Searle thinks there's a safety issue. It was claimed that Miss Peggie had walked away from patients when Dr. Upton arrived to treat them, including one who required resuscitation. But none of the allegations were reported at the time they were said to have occurred or were supported by documentation. Miss Miles said they instead came from second, third-hand information, and the doctor who was the alleged subject of the racist comment did not recall it having been made. She said Miss Peggie wasn't happy with the homophobia claims, as I believe she has a daughter who's gay. I'm sure she wasn't happy, even if her daughter wasn't of a certain sexual proclivity. She, that is Miss Miles, said claims that the nurse shared Mr. Trump's views on gender were tittle-tattle, and Miss Peggie was entitled to her private opinions if they did not harm patients. It emerged last week that Miss Peggie had been cleared of gross misconduct by an NHS 5 disciplinary hearing. However, the tribunal is scheduled to continue for another 7 days, with Dr. Searle giving evidence on Tuesday. I mean, it's all done and dusted, but Dr. Searle has to have her spot in the sun, doesn't she? And of course, it all costs money, but as I said, who cares? It's only public money. I mean, that just appears like rain from the heavens, doesn't it? Yeah, there was a nice little incident here. After Dr. Searle made the patient safety and racism allegations, Miss Miles said she challenged her whether they'd been escalated and reported appropriately when these events happened. Dr. Searle said they had not. And Miss Miles warned her that if these events had happened and there's been a failure to report them, the doctor would be culpable for any future incidents. I think that must have been quite embarrassing for Dr. Searle, but it does give you an idea of what's going on in the Victoria Hospital in NHS Fife, doesn't it? I can't see that that's a very... Personally, I don't think a place that's being run in that way is all that safe for patients, and that's not because of Nurse Peggie. But of course, I've got to be careful about whom I might be blaming for the situation there. OK, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.